Welcome to the New York Commercial Driver's License (CDL) Hazmat Endorsement Test Updated Edition. This permit practice test consists of 50 real questions and answers, like the one you see on the screen. Your goal should be to watch this video until you can get at least 40 of these 50 questions correct. Now, let's get started with the test. Question 1. What is the purpose of placards on a vehicle transporting hazardous materials? A. To identify the vehicle's ownership. B. To warn others of hazardous materials being transported. C. To advertise the company's services. The correct answer is B. To warn others of hazardous materials being transported. Placards inform emergency responders and the public about the hazardous materials on board, ensuring proper precautions are taken in case of an accident. Question 2. Which of the following is classified as a hazardous material class? A. Corrosives. B. Liquids. C. Solids. The correct answer is A. Corrosives. Hazardous materials are grouped into specific classes, including corrosives, which can cause damage to skin, metals, or other materials upon contact. Question 3. What is the minimum distance a driver must stop when a railroad crossing sign is present and hazardous materials are being transported? A. 5 feet. B. 15 feet. C. 40 feet. The correct answer is B. 15 feet. Drivers transporting hazardous materials must stop within 50 feet from railroad crossings, with the minimum distance being 15 feet, to ensure the safety of their cargo and prevent accidents. Question 4. If a hazardous materials spill occurs, what is the best step the driver should take? A. Try to clean the spill themselves. B. Notify emergency services immediately. C. Continue driving to the nearest emergency center. The correct answer is B. Notify emergency services immediately. Drivers should never attempt to clean hazardous materials spills themselves. It is crucial to alert emergency responders, who are trained to handle such situations. Question 5. What document must accompany a hazardous materials shipment? A. Bill of sale. B. Shipping papers. C. Lottery ticket. The correct answer is B. Shipping papers. Shipping papers must accompany all hazardous materials shipments and contain essential information about the materials being transported and emergency procedures. Question 6. Who is responsible for checking if the hazardous material being transported is properly labeled and classified? A. The shipper. B. The driver. C. Both the shipper and driver. The correct answer is C. Both the shipper and driver. Both the shipper and driver share responsibility for ensuring that hazardous materials are properly labeled, classified, and prepared for transport. Question 7. What is the primary hazard associated with Class 1 hazardous materials? A. Flammability. B. Explosiveness. C. Radioactivity. The correct answer is B. Explosiveness. Class 1 hazardous materials consist of explosives, which pose a risk of detonation if not handled carefully. Question 8. When transporting hazardous materials, what should you check regarding the emergency response information? A. It must be written in code. B. It should be attached to the shipping papers. C. It can be kept separate from the cargo. The correct answer is B. It should be attached to the shipping papers. Emergency response information must always be readily accessible and attached to the shipping papers to provide crucial instructions in case of an incident. Question 9. How often should hazardous materials shipments be inspected during transportation? A. At the start and end of the trip. B. At rest stops. C. All of the above. The correct answer is C. All of the above. Inspections of hazardous materials shipments should occur at the start of the trip, the end of the trip, and at rest stops to ensure no leaks, damages, or other dangerous situations have arisen. Question 10. Which of these hazardous materials is most likely to require the use of a respirator in case of exposure? A. Class 8 corrosive materials. B. Class 6 toxic and poison inhalation substances. C. Class 2, gases. The correct answer is B. Class 6, toxic and poison inhalation substances. Toxic substances can be harmful when inhaled, and exposure may require the use of respirators to prevent serious health risks. And now for a quick bonus question. We really appreciate you watching this video. Many ask us, what is the best way they can help support the channel? A. Simply hit the like button. B. Subscribe to the channel. C. Purchase our exclusive exam prep on our website. The correct answer is A. Simply hit the like button. The best way to support the channel is by simply hitting the like button. Although subscribing would also help, we just wanted to take a moment to let you know we appreciate you watching this video very much, and we sincerely hope you pass your upcoming test. Question 11. What should you do if your vehicle transporting hazardous materials catches fire? A. Try to put out the fire yourself by blowing it out. B. Move the vehicle away from populated areas and call for help. C. Abandon the vehicle and leave the cargo behind. The correct answer is B. Move the vehicle away from populated areas and call for help. If possible, safely move the vehicle away from populated areas to minimize risk, and immediately notify emergency services for assistance. Question 12. When is it mandatory to placard a vehicle transporting hazardous materials? A. Only when transporting radioactive materials. B. When transporting any amount of any hazardous materials. C. When the amount exceeds the threshold limit or specific regulations mandate it regardless of quantity. The correct answer is C. When the amount exceeds the threshold limit or specific regulations mandate it regardless of quantity. Placards are required when hazardous materials exceed specific quantities or if specific regulations mandate it regardless of quantity. Question 13. What is the hazard class for flammable liquids? A. Class 3. B. Class 2. C. Class 5. The correct answer is A. Class 3. Flammable liquids, such as gasoline and diesel fuel, are classified as Class 3 hazardous materials due to their potential to ignite easily. Question 14. How often must a driver renew their hazardous materials endorsement, HME? A. Every 3 years. B. Every 5 years. C. Every 10 years. The correct answer is B. Every 5 years. Drivers are required to renew their hazardous materials endorsement every 5 years to ensure they remain compliant with regulations. Question 15. What should you do if the emergency response information is missing from a hazardous materials shipment? A. Continue with the shipment. B. Contact the shipper and refuse to transport the materials until the information is provided. C. Create your own emergency response plan. The correct answer is B. Contact the shipper and refuse to transport the materials until the information is provided. Emergency response information is essential for the safe transport of hazardous materials, and the driver should not proceed without it. Question 16. What color are the placards used to indicate flammable liquids? A. Red. B. Yellow. C. Blue. The correct answer is A. Red. Placards indicating flammable liquids are red to signal danger and the potential for fire or explosion. Question 17. Which of these should you do before loading or unloading a tanker that contains hazardous materials? A. Turn on your vehicle's engine. B. Make sure the parking brake is set. C. Honk your horn. The correct answer is B. Make sure the parking brake is set. Always make sure to set the parking brake to ensure the vehicle does not move. Question 18. What must a driver have when transporting hazardous materials in an interstate shipment? A. A valid commercial driver's license. B. A hazardous materials endorsement, HME. C. Both a valid commercial driver's license and HME. The correct answer is C. Both a valid commercial driver's license and HME. To legally transport hazardous materials across state lines, drivers must have a valid CDL and a hazardous materials endorsement, HME. Question 19. What is the primary danger of transporting Class 2 gases? A. Radiation exposure. B. Asphyxiation or explosion. C. Corrosion. The correct answer is B. Asphyxiation or explosion. Class 2 gases, such as propane, can displace oxygen or explode under the right conditions, making them extremely dangerous. Question 20. What is required when transporting hazardous materials through tunnels or over bridges? A. Additional permits. B. Advanced notice to local authorities. C. Adherence to posted hazardous materials route restrictions. The correct answer is C. Adherence to posted hazardous materials route restrictions. Tunnels and bridges may have restrictions for hazardous materials due to the increased risk of accidents or spills. Question 21. What must be included on the shipping papers for hazardous materials? A. Emergency contact number. B. The weight of the vehicle. C. The driver's license number. The correct answer is A. Emergency contact number. The shipping papers must include an emergency contact number that responders can call in case of an accident involving hazardous materials. Question 22. What is the safest way to transport hazardous materials? A. Drive as quickly as possible to the destination. B. Follow all safety regulations and avoid distractions. C. Stop every 20 miles to check the load. The correct answer is B. Follow all safety regulations and avoid distractions. Transporting hazardous materials safely requires strict adherence to regulations and staying focused on the road. Question 23. What should you do if you are transporting hazardous materials and are involved in an accident? A. Text your dispatcher a sad emoji. B. Call emergency services immediately and provide the shipping papers. C. Attempt to clean any spills before help arrives. The correct answer is B. Call emergency services immediately and provide the shipping papers. In the event of an accident, it's critical to notify emergency services and provide shipping papers so they can assess the hazardous materials involved. Question 24. How should hazardous materials be loaded into a trailer? A. Place the heaviest items on top. B. Secure them tightly and separate incompatible materials. C. Load all materials randomly without separation. The correct answer is B. Secure them tightly and separate incompatible materials. Incompatible hazardous materials must be separated to avoid dangerous chemical reactions during transportation. Question 25. What does the letter A signify on a hazardous material shipping label? A. It indicates that the material is non-hazardous. B. It designates a material that must be handled with extreme caution. C. It shows that the material is only hazardous in air transportation. The correct answer is C. It shows that the material is only hazardous in air transportation. The letter A on a hazardous material shipping label means the material is considered hazardous only when transported by air. Question 26. What type of fire extinguisher is required on vehicles carrying hazardous materials? A. Any extinguisher will work. B. A fire extinguisher with a UL rating of 10 BC or higher. C. Class D. The correct answer is B. A fire extinguisher with a UL rating of 10 BC or higher. Vehicles transporting hazardous materials must carry a fire extinguisher with at least a 10 BC rating, suitable for dealing with flammable liquids and electrical fires. Question 27. Which type of hazardous material is identified with the Class 6 label? A. Explosives. B. Infectious substances. C. Flammable solids. The correct answer is B. Infectious substances. Class 6 hazardous materials include toxic and infectious substances, which pose health risks if they come into contact with people or animals. Question 28. What action should a driver take if they smell gas while transporting hazardous materials? A. Open all windows and continue driving. B. Stop the vehicle immediately and check for leaks. C. Call the shipper to ask for instructions. The correct answer is B. Stop the vehicle immediately and check for leaks. If you smell gas while transporting hazardous materials, you should stop safely and investigate for leaks to prevent accidents or fires. Question 29. How many different hazard classes are recognized in the transportation of hazardous materials? A. 6 classes. B. 9 classes. C. 12 classes. The correct answer is B. 9 classes. There are 9 different hazard classes for transporting hazardous materials, each representing a different type of risk. Question 30. What does a Class 5 placard indicate? A. Explosives. B. Oxidizers. C. Radioactive materials. The correct answer is B. Oxidizers. Class 5 placards indicate the presence of oxidizers, which can cause or contribute to the combustion of other materials. Question 31. What must a driver transporting chlorine in cargo tanks have? A. A destination to a swimming pool. B. A bathing suit. C. An approved gas mask. The correct answer is C. An approved gas mask. A driver transporting chlorine in cargo tanks must have an approved gas mask in the vehicle. Question 32. Which of the following is classified as a Class 9 hazardous material? A. Explosives. B. Miscellaneous hazardous materials. C. Corrosive liquids. The correct answer is B. Miscellaneous hazardous materials. Class 9 includes hazardous materials that do not fit into other specific categories, such as environmentally hazardous substances. Question 33. What does the number 2 in a diamond-shaped hazard label indicate? A. It refers to explosives. B. It refers to gases. C. It refers to flammable liquids. The correct answer is B. It refers to gases. The number 2 on a diamond-shaped label indicates the material being transported is a gas, such as propane or oxygen. Question 34. What is the minimum age required to obtain a CDL with a hazardous materials endorsement? A. 18 years. B. 25 years. C. 21 years. The correct answer is C. 21 years. To obtain a CDL with a hazardous materials endorsement, drivers must be at least 21 years old. Question 35. What is required before a driver can legally transport hazardous materials? A. Passing a chemical certification test. B. Passing a hazardous materials endorsement test. C. Passing a shipping papers certification test. The correct answer is B. Passing a hazardous materials endorsement test. Drivers must pass the hazardous materials endorsement test to demonstrate their knowledge of handling and transporting hazardous materials. Question 36. What does ERG stand for in the context of hazardous materials transportation? A. Emergency Response Guidebook. B. Environmental Regulation Guide. C. Emergency Rescue Group. The correct answer is A. Emergency Response Guidebook. The ERG, or Emergency Response Guidebook, provides critical information for first responders dealing with hazardous materials incidents. Question 37. What should you not do when driving across railroad tracks? A. Stop 15 to 50 feet before crossing. B. Proceed if you are sure no train is coming. C. Shift gears while crossing the tracks. The correct answer is C. Shift gears while crossing the tracks. When driving across railroad tracks, do not shift gears. Question 38. Which of the following hazardous materials must be transported in a sealed container? A. Class 7 radioactive materials. B. Class 3 flammable liquids. C. Class 6 toxic substances. The correct answer is A. Class 7 radioactive materials. Radioactive materials require special sealed containers to prevent exposure and leakage. Question 39. When transporting hazardous materials, what are some stops where you should check the cargo and placards during a trip? A. At every rest stop and after loading or unloading. B. Only at the start and end of the trip. C. Every 5 miles. The correct answer is A. At every rest stop and after loading or unloading. Checking the cargo and placards regularly ensures compliance and safety during transportation. Question 40. What must be done with hazardous materials shipping papers when you are behind the wheel? A. Keep them in a visible location within reach. B. Store them in a locked compartment out of reach. C. It doesn't matter as long as you don't use them as a napkin. The correct answer is A. Keep them in a visible location within reach. The shipping papers must be easily accessible in case of an inspection or emergency. Question 41. If hazardous materials labels become damaged during transport, what should the driver do? A. Replace them immediately. B. Cover them with tape. C. Ignore them if only minor damage is present. The correct answer is A. Replace them immediately. Damaged labels must be replaced to ensure proper identification of the hazardous materials. Question 42. As a professional driver, what are some of your job responsibilities at the scene of an accident or an incident? A. Keep people away from the scene. B. Call for help. C. All of the above. The correct answer is C. All of the above. As a professional driver, some of your responsibilities at the scene include keeping people away from the scene and calling emergency response personnel for help. Question 43. What are the minimum amount of placards typically required on a vehicle carrying hazardous materials? A. 2 placards. B. 3 placards. C. 4 placards. The correct answer is C. 4 placards. Hazardous materials placards must be displayed on all 4 sides of the vehicle for visibility. Question 44. What is the purpose of a hazardous materials security plan? A. To outline how the materials are loaded. B. To reduce the risk of theft or misuse of hazardous materials. C. To ensure the driver's safety. The correct answer is B. To reduce the risk of theft or misuse of hazardous materials. A security plan is required for transporting certain hazardous materials to protect against theft or terrorism. Question 45. Who is responsible for providing placards for hazardous materials shipments? A. The shipper. B. The driver. C. The DOT. The correct answer is A. The shipper. It is the shipper's responsibility to provide the correct placards for hazardous materials being transported. Question 46. Which of the following should always be worn when handling hazardous materials? A. Fire-resistant clothing. B. Personal protective equipment, PPE. C. Uniform provided by the company. The correct answer is B. Personal protective equipment, PPE. Proper PPE, such as gloves and goggles, should be worn to protect against hazardous material exposure. Question 47. Which class of hazardous materials includes oxidizers and organic peroxides? A. Class 1. B. Class 5. C. Class 8. The correct answer is B. Class 5. Class 5 materials are oxidizers and organic peroxides, which can cause or contribute to the combustion of other materials. Question 48. What is the main hazard associated with Class 7 materials? A. Flammability. B. Radioactivity. C. Corrosion. The correct answer is B. Radioactivity. Class 7 materials are radioactive, posing a risk of harmful radiation exposure. Question 49. What should you do if you discover your hazardous cargo is on fire and you are unable to use your cell phone or CB to call for help? A. Open the doors to the cargo to see how bad it is. B. Send someone else for help. C. Keep driving until you find a phone booth. The correct answer is B. Send someone else for help. If you are unable to use your cell phone or CB for help, it is best to send someone else for help if possible. Their cell phone may not work in the area either, but they can still drive to an area to call for help or to emergency personnel. Question 50. Which of the following hazardous materials cannot be transported together? A. Explosives and flammable liquids. B. Gases and corrosives. C. All hazardous materials can be transported together. The correct answer is A. Explosives and flammable liquids. Incompatible hazardous materials, such as explosives and flammable liquids, must be separated to avoid dangerous interactions. And this concludes the video. Again, we really appreciate you watching our channel. Please like and subscribe for more videos, and we hope you pass your upcoming test.